But I want to thank my friend and colleague from the great state of New Jersey. You've been holding this space for the American people now for well over 17 hours. While we represent different parts of the country, Senator Booker, we have the same values. I learned from you the importance of treating people with respect and dignity. That's what we should all be talking about here today, every day. I've also learned a lot about grace from you. Now, I come to the floor to ask you a question about farmers. I think you and I both appreciate the long hours that farmers put in to take care of that soil, their families, the planning that goes into this, sowing seeds. Sometimes you have to do a little weeding to make sure that we're going to all benefit from the fruits of their labor. Now, having fresh food in a grocery store is not something that can be taken for granted. And for a lot of our constituents, I've had these conversations with nominees that have come before us when they ask me, well, why is someone just eating potato chips or Doritos from that local store? I'll educate them by saying that's the only store around.
Yes.
There's food deserts everywhere. But we could do something about that. We have programs in place that recognize the importance of getting someone a meal that needs that meal. Supporting our farmers out there to sow those seeds, to help them with their planting. But what I'm seeing right now, Senator Booker, is our farmers have been on the receiving end of these federal funds being taken away from the United States Department of Agriculture, these reckless tariffs that are hurting farmers and ranchers just as much as they're hurting anyone in America. Outbreaks, bird flu. People know what the cost of eggs are at the store now. And then they look into what's going on here, and there's this bird flu that's going around. And my constituents ask, well, why did the United States Department of Agriculture under Donald Trump fire the people, epidemiologists, that are responsible for containing this thing? It didn't make any sense to folks. I was in the Ag Committee earlier today, Senator Booker, and I was asking some questions to USDA. And I learned that on March 7th, 2025, under the Trump administration, the United States Department of Agriculture terminated the Local Food and Schools Program and the Local Food Purchase Assistance Cooperative Agreement. And then they went further, and they also notified grant applicants on March 24th that the fiscal year 2025 competition for the Patrick Leahy Farm to School Grant Program is canceled. Why does this matter to farmers and ranchers and people back home? These programs allow food banks and schools and others to purchase food from our local farmers. Now, our local farmers aren't just making a decision on what seed's going to be planted so they can sell the lettuce next week. They start this a year going back. So when the United States Department of Agriculture a year ago started talking to these farmers and ranchers about what programs were going to be in place, and then these farmers responsibly went and found customers to sell their food, food banks, different groups around the country, they planned the rest of the year to be able to get that nutritious food into the bellies of people that need it most. That sounds like respect and dignity.
Yep.
What's not respectful is when the Trump administration gives them a few days' notice and pulls the rug from under them and cancels the program that's going to allow the food bank, their customer, to buy their food. What do the farmers have to do now across America? Now, it gets worse and worse. I won't go into all of it, Senator Booker, but here's one of the dirty little secrets. All of these programs that are being taken away from the American people, it's to find an extra dollar for this tax policy under Donald Trump that my constituents started calling back in 2017 the Trump tax scam. Wow. Right? Well, why are you calling it that? And they said, well, everyone promised me, I'm making less than the median income, making less than $80,000, which is a lot of money in New Mexico. Across America, median income there is a little lower. I was told that we were going to get the brunt of this tax cut, recognizing that we're hardworking and how hard it is to make ends meet. But that's not what happened. Most of this went to families and folks making over $2.8 million. I don't have anything against those families. I wish them well. I want them to make more, $10 million next year. But they don't need a tax cut. That should be going to those hardworking families that were told that they were being prioritized, but they're the ones that told me anyway, that this was a Trump tax scam. That's the secret. That's where all this money's going. So, Senator Booker, whether I'm in a grocery store and I'm chatting with constituents who are out there looking at egg prices or whatever it may be, they're concerned about what's going on here, and all they're asking for me to share with my colleagues here is just tell them to tell us the truth.
Yes.
If they're going to vote to take these programs away, they have the votes by Republican colleagues. Just be honest. Treat my constituents with the respect and dignity so that they can plan. So that a single mom that has a child whose Medicaid may get ripped away, but that child has cancer, how are they going to plan for care in 6 months? So that farmer who started planting seeds recently but was planning over a year on what to do so they could find another customer so that they're not going to lose that farm as well. Now, before I ask you this question, sir, I want to end with this. Senator Booker, you often share a story of Abraham Lincoln's inaugural address, his second, and the man whose reviewed mattered most to the 16th President of the United States.
One of my favorite stories.
When asked his opinion of Lincoln's performance, former slave and abolitionist Frederick Douglass replied, "It was a sacred effort." Let me be the first to say this is a sacred effort, Senator Booker, and I'm proud to stand alongside you. So, Senator Booker, the question that my constituents and I have for you is, can the farmers and ranchers of America afford to pay for another Trump tax scam with all this nonsense that's going on? I mean, it's a question I get when I'm at church. I say not during church, but after church is okay.
Yeah.
Or at the grocery store. But when I'm visiting with folks back home, this is what they're asking me.
And thank you for the question.